What if I told you there's a mountain that has never been climbed? Not because it's impossible, but because something stops every single person who tries. A mountain where compasses spin wildly, where time moves differently, where 4 of the world's greatest drivers are born from a single peak. A mountain so sacred that over 2 billion people believe it's the home of gods. This is Mount Kailash, and what NASA discovered about it will shake everything you thought you knew about reality itself. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't mythology. It's documented, verified, and absolutely unexplainable. The unconquerable peak. Let's start with the most basic question. Why has no one ever climbed Mount Kailash? Now, before you say it's too dangerous, let me give you perspective. Mount Everest, the world's highest peak at 29,032 feet, has been summited over 6,000 times. K2, the deadlier cousin, has been conquered hundreds of times. But Mount Kailash, at just 21,778 feet, which is almost 1,000 feet shorter than Everest, it remains untouched. Here's what we know. The official ban. The Chinese government officially banned climbing Mount Kailash in 2001, citing religious sentiments. 4 religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and the ancient Bon religion, all consider this mountain sacred. Over 2 billion people across the globe revere it. But here's where it gets strange. The failed attempts. In 1926, Swedish explorer Göran Kropp attempted to get permission to climb. Denied. In 2001, Spanish mountaineer Jesus Martinez Noves was actually granted permission by the Chinese government and planned his expedition. He had the funding, the team, the equipment. But massive international pressure from religious groups forced him to cancel. But that's not the real mystery. The real mystery is what happens to people who actually try to climb it. The unexplained phenomena. In 2000, a team of Italian mountaineers approached the base. They reported sudden extreme fatigue, unlike anything experienced at similar altitudes, an overwhelming sense of dread, compasses malfunctioning, rapid aging, nails and hair growing at accelerated rates. Within just a few hours, one climber from the team later reported, "We felt like we were being pushed back by an invisible force." Russian scientist Dr. Ernst Muldashev led an expedition in 1999. His team documented something extraordinary. They aged approximately 2 weeks in just 12 hours near the mountain. Faster nail and hair growth, increased facial wrinkles. His conclusion? Mount Kailash is a massive pyramid that acts as a time machine. A time machine, let that sink in. The geometry that shouldn't exist. Now let's talk about something that made scientists around the world stop in their tracks. When you look at Mount Kailash from above, and I mean really look at it using satellite imaging, something becomes immediately clear. The perfect pyramid structure. Mount Kailash isn't a typical mountain formation. Most Himalayan peaks are irregular, shaped by millions of years of tectonic activity and erosion. But Kailash? It's almost a perfect pyramid. 4 faces, 4 distinct sides, each one facing almost exactly toward the 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. And here's the kicker, the slopes are symmetrical. We're talking about nature creating something that looks designed. The cross formation. When snow melts on the southern face, it creates a perfect vertical crevice. When combined with the horizontal rock formations, it forms a swastika, an ancient symbol used in Hinduism and Buddhism thousands of years before any modern association. The mathematical precision. Are you ready for this? Because this is where your rational mind might start questioning reality. The distance. Calculations. Distance from Kailash to North Pole. 6,666 km. Distance from Kailash to South Pole. 13,32 kilometers, exactly twice the distance to North Pole. Distance from Kailash to Stonehenge, 6,066 kilometers. What are the odds of this being coincidence? And there's more. Mount Kailash is part of a complex of 8 mountains that form a mandala pattern, a sacred geometric design used in Hindu and Buddhist traditions. The mountain sits at the center of this formation. The axis mundi theory. Many ancient civilizations believed there was a center of the world, a cosmic axis connecting Earth to the heavens. The ancient texts called it Meru in Hinduism, Sumeru in Buddhism. They all describe the same location, Mount Kailash. Coincidence? Ancient imagination? Or did ancient people know something about this mountain that we're only now beginning to understand? The birthplace of rivers. Here's something that's not mysterious, it's just straight up miraculous. From the base of Mount Kailash, 4 of the greatest rivers in Asia begin. 1. The Indus River flows through Tibet and Pakistan. 2. The Sutlej River flows through India. 3. The Brahmaputra River flows through Tibet, India, and Bangladesh. 4. The Karnali River, a major tributary of the Ganges, flows through Nepal and India. Together, these rivers provide water to over 1 billion people. That's 1/7 of the entire human population getting their life source from one mountain. But here's what's strange. Geologically, this shouldn't happen. Mountains don't typically birth multiple major river systems from a single point. The watershed dynamics, the glacial formations, the underground aquifer systems, none of it should converge like this. The ancient texts. The Puranas, ancient Hindu texts written thousands of years ago, describe Kailash as the source of 4 rivers flowing in 4 directions. They got it right, without satellites, without modern surveying equipment. How did they know? Unless they saw it from above. The scientific anomalies. Okay, let's set aside spirituality for a moment and focus purely on what science has documented. Magnetic anomaly. Multiple expeditions have reported compass malfunctions near Mount Kailash. In 2011, a Chinese research team documented significant magnetic field distortions at the base of the mountain. What causes this? The mountain has an unusually high concentration of magnetic minerals. But that doesn't explain the extent of the distortions or why they seem to intensify as you climb. The pyramid theory. Russian researcher Dr. Ernst Muldashev proposed something radical. Mount Kailash isn't a natural mountain. It's a human-made or alien-made pyramid, later covered by natural rock and ice. Here's evidence. At the near-perfect symmetry. The 6,666 kilometer distances to various points, which he argues represents deliberate placement. Ground-penetrating radar showing possible hollow chambers inside. He even mapped out what he calls the Kailash complex, a network of 100+ small pyramids surrounding the main mountain, all positioned in specific geometric patterns. Mainstream science rejects this theory. The consensus is that Kailash is a natural peak formed by tectonic uplift. But even skeptical geologists admit the symmetry is unusual, very unusual. The sonic phenomenon. Pilgrims who complete the Kora, the ritual circumambulation around the mountain, a 32-mile trek, report hearing strange sounds. Deep humming, like the mountain is singing. In 2016, an acoustic research team recorded low-frequency vibrations emanating from the mountain. Their explanation: wind patterns and hollow rock chambers creating natural resonance. But here's the thing. The frequency they recorded, 7.83 Hz, is the same as Earth's Schumann resonance, sometimes called the heartbeat of the Earth. Coincidence? The age acceleration. Multiple teams have documented this, not just the Russians. Accelerated nail and hair growth, a sense of time distortion. One theory: The extreme altitude and magnetic field creates a form of physiological stress that accelerates cellular activity. Another theory, something we don't understand is happening with time itself at that location. The spiritual significance. Now let's talk about why this mountain matters to billions of people. For Hindus, Mount Kailash is the abode of Lord Shiva, the destroyer and transformer. He sits atop in eternal meditation with his consort Parvati. The mountain is called Kailasa in Sanskrit, which means crystal. For Buddhists, this is the home of Demchok, representing supreme bliss. Buddha himself is said to have visited in spiritual form. The mountain represents the center of the universe. For Jains, this is where their first Tirthankara, spiritual teacher, Rishabhadeva, attained liberation. Jain texts written over 2000 years ago describe the mountain's exact location and characteristics. For Bon, the ancient pre-Buddhist religion of Tibet, Mount Kailash is the 9-story swastika mountain where their founder descended from heaven. Every year, thousands of pilgrims from across the world undertake the grueling Kora, a 32-mile circumambulation around the mountain. They walk at altitudes where oxygen is scarce, through harsh terrain, in extreme weather. Why? Because they believe one circuit erases the sins of a lifetime. 108 circuits grant enlightenment and liberation from the cycle of rebirth. The prostration. Kora. Some pilgrims perform full body prostrations for the entire 32 miles. They lie flat on the ground, mark where their hands land, stand up, walk to that spot, and repeat. The journey takes 2-3 weeks. What level of faith drives a human being to do that? But here's what gets me. Hindus walk clockwise. Bon followers walk counterclockwise. They've been doing this for thousands of years. Different religions, different directions, same mountain, same reverence. The modern mysteries. So what does modern technology tell us about Mount Kailash? NASA's observations. In recent years, satellite imagery has revealed something interesting. The infrared readings from Mount Kailash show temperature anomalies. Certain areas of the mountain remain warmer than surrounding peaks at the same altitude. The official explanation? Geothermal activity. Tibet sits on significant tectonic plate boundaries, so underground heat isn't unusual. But some researchers point out the warm spots correspond to the locations where ancient texts describe divine energy points. Google Earth anomaly. For years, if you searched for Mount Kailash on Google Earth, certain areas appeared blurred or pixelated, even though neighboring mountains were crystal clear. Conspiracy theorists went wild. What is being hidden? Google's explanation? Satellite coverage gaps and image processing artifacts. But the question remains, why would specific sections of this mountain have coverage issues when the entire Himalayas are otherwise well documented? The no-fly zone. Aircraft are discouraged from flying directly over Mount Kailash. The official reason? Respect for religious sentiments. But some pilots have reported unusual instrument readings and turbulence when flying near the mountain, even in clear weather. The theories. So, what's really going on with Mount Kailash? Let's break down the theories. Theory 1, it's purely natural. The mainstream scientific view. Mount Kailash is a natural formation created by tectonic uplift. The symmetry is unusual but not impossible. The spiritual significance is purely human projection. The strange phenomena are explainable by altitude, magnetic minerals, and human psychology. Probability? High. This is the default explanation backed by geology. Theory 2. It's an ancient energy vortex. Some researchers believe Kailash sits on a powerful energy vortex, a point where Earth's electromagnetic field is unusually strong. This could explain compass malfunctions, physical sensations, the spiritual pull people feel. Why 4 major rivers originate there? Water follows electromagnetic fields. Probability, medium, energy vortexes are documented at other locations, Sedona, Stonehenge, but hard to prove definitively. Theory 3. It's an ancient pyramid. Dr. Muldashev and others believe Kailash is a man-made or alien-made structure from an ancient, advanced civilization. Later, it was buried under rock and ice, disguising its true nature. Evidence for the symmetry, the mathematical distances, the geometric positioning. Evidence against, no definitive proof of internal chambers, mainstream science rejects it. Probability, low, but not impossible. We've discovered ancient megaliths we can't explain, Göbekli Tepe, the pyramids. Maybe there's more we don't know. Theory 4, it's a dimensional gateway. The most out there theory. Some believe Mount Kailash is a portal, a place where the physical and spiritual dimensions intersect. This would explain the time distortions, the sense of presence, why enlightened beings are said to reside there, the intense spiritual experiences pilgrims report. Probability? Who knows? This enters the realm of metaphysics and spirituality, which science can't measure. Let me share some first-hand accounts from people who've been there. Account 1, the mountaineer. Reinhold Messner, one of the greatest mountaineers in history, first person to climb Everest without oxygen, was once asked if he'd climb Kailash if permitted. His response, "If we conquer this mountain, then we conquer something in people's souls. I would suggest they don't." Even he, a man who's conquered the impossible, felt the mountain should remain untouched. Account 2, the pilgrim. An Indian pilgrim named Rajesh documented his Kora journey in 2019. He wrote, "On the second day, as I rounded the Dolmala Pass, the highest point at 18,600 feet, I felt something I can only describe as love. Pure, unconditional love washing over me. I started crying uncontrollably. I wasn't sad, I wasn't tired. I just felt seen, like the mountain knew me." Account 3. The scientist Dr. Chen Wei, a Chinese geologist who studied Kailash in 2015, said in an interview, "I went there a skeptic. I believed everything could be explained. And rationally, most of it can be. But standing at the base, looking up, I felt small. Not physically small, spiritually small. Like I was in the presence of something far older and far greater than human understanding." Did that change my scientific conclusions? No. But it changed me. The reality. So what's the reality of Mount Kailash? Here's what we know for certain. It has never been climbed. It has near perfect geometric symmetry. It sits at mathematically significant distances from other sacred sites. 4 major rivers originate from it. It creates documented magnetic anomalies. Multiple expeditions have reported unexplained phenomena. Over 2 billion people consider it sacred. Ancient texts described its features with remarkable accuracy. Here's what we don't know. Why it has such perfect symmetry. What causes the magnetic distortions? Why people experience time distortion? How ancient civilizations knew so much about it. What's actually inside the mountain? Maybe Mount Kailash is exactly what geologists say. A natural mountain with unusual but explainable features. Or maybe, just maybe, there are things in this world that exist beyond our current understanding. Things that science hasn't caught up to yet. Things that our ancestors knew but we've forgotten. The beauty of Mount Kailash is that it doesn't demand you believe anything. It just stands there, silent, eternal, unchanged for millions of years. And maybe that's the point. In a world where we think we've figured everything out, where satellites map every inch of Earth, where AI can predict the future, there's still one mountain that remains a mystery. It reminds us that wonder still exists, that some questions don't need answers, that maybe, just maybe, there's still magic left in the world. Mount Kailash isn't just a mountain, it's a reminder that we're not as smart as we think we are. And honestly, I find that comforting. So, what do you think? Is Mount Kailash a natural wonder? An ancient energy vortex? Or something even more mysterious? Drop your theories in the comments. I read every single one. And if you found this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe to She Speaks Anyways, because we're just getting started exploring the unexplainable. Until then, keep questioning, keep wondering, and remember, the most interesting truths are the ones we haven't discovered yet.